Let's get started. So I'd like to introduce you to Alexandra Boylan. Ms. Boylan is a graduate of Georgetown High School. She grew up right down the street here in Byfield, next to the Byfield Parish Church. Her dad is the minister at Byfield Parish Church, where I work, and that's why we know each other. But Alexa has an interesting story because she was a drama person in high school, decided that she wanted to make it big in Hollywood, and decided just to leave little old Georgetown and go to Hollywood. And all of the adventures that she had on her way to where she is right now, I'm sure she'll explain to you. But I'm going to ask that you be an attentive audience. Obviously, at the end, please feel free to ask lots of questions if you're interested in the business and what it takes to be successful in it. And so at this point, I'm just going to hand it off to you and let you take it from here. Okay?
Hi, how are you guys doing? Aw. Well, thank you. So yeah, I'm a filmmaker. I did start out as an actress. I moved to LA when I was 19 years old. I was pretty brave. I packed up my Toyota Corolla and I moved out west, and I spent many years pursuing acting, and then I got kind of frustrated with waiting for people to pick me and choose me, so I started getting into producing, and now I have a production company, and we produced our first feature film, which is Home Sweet Home, the thriller, and we totally made it on a shoestring budget out in the middle of nowhere in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And we really made it just to kind of show people that we could do it, because I think a lot of in Hollywood you kind of don't get a break until you prove that you can actually do something. So first you have to go and do it. So we just went and did it, but then we ended up selling the movie to Image Entertainment for U.S. distribution, and it was in Walmart and Target and Best Buy and all that crazy awesomeness. So. And then the other thing that I've just made recently, we made a live action movie game for the iPhone and the iPad. And at the moment, it doesn't actually exist. We launched last night. Apple approved us, and we are now live on the Apple Store. And yeah, we shot it like a movie and then cut it into where you make choices throughout the game. So that's some of the stuff I've been working on. I also made a web series called Flock. And that's a 12 episode. I don't know if you guys know web series, right? Have you guys ever heard of web series? Okay, sorry. I don't know. A lot of people don't. I forget. I don't know with generations who knows what. But I did that for the web. It's a 12 episode web series, and tons of short films. And I produced a play and just kind of everything. But I'd love to, if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want to see a scene from the movie, or.
Would you take us through a couple of the scenes from your movie?
Right. This will. We're going to show the opening of the film. It is a thriller horror movie.
Besides, you don't kill someone who's doing everything that you ask them to do. What are you doing?
I'm giving you the money.
Not you. Hurry up!
I'm going as fast as I can.
Not you, her.
Slowly.
Thank you.
Can we please
go.
Thanks. So, like I said, we had a really small budget, so we went out to a town called Alamogordo, New Mexico, and usually to get a location like that, you'd have to pay a lot of money, but we went to a town that was like, oh, you can just use our convenience store for free, and we shot at night, through the night, and police actually came by, but they were so enthralled that we were making a movie that they were like, oh, we'll just come watch you guys, which in LA, that would never happen. They'd just slap a fine on you and say you owe a lot of money. So that's one way we were able to use that convenience store. And then all the tracking shots that you saw of her walking was actually, you know, you'd usually use a dolly, but we didn't have the money for that. So our cinematographer is sitting on a rolling chair, and he's being pushed around the room. So
For these guys, what is the overall plot of the film?
Sure, of course. It's about a girl who goes home to her childhood abandoned house after she's had a rough time losing her apartment and her job, and there's squatters living in the house, which are played by the two villains in this, and they don't want to leave, and they start messing with her, and they're not very nice. And they're just psychotic. They don't want anything. I play the victim. And we also have a woman who's the villain, which is kind of cool because you rarely see that. And I was telling Sarah, the statistics for women behind the camera in the film industry is only 35%. And I think if we had more women filmmakers, there'd be better roles for women too. So,
how did you get from Georgetown to making a feature-length film with a production crew?
Well, it's a long story, but no. Well, like I said, I spent many years acting. I actually did a lot of horror movies, and one thing about horror films is it's the #1 genre. Every single studio has a subdivision just for horror movies. It is the #1 market. They're very sellable. You don't have to have a star name. So I witnessed that, all these movies that I was doing that weren't even that good, unfortunately, but they were all getting bought, picked up, distributed. So I spent many years acting. Then in 2008, I decided to produce a play because I wanted to learn how to produce, and I had no idea how to do it. So I was like, well, I'll just try it and figure it out. And we ended up selling out every night in LA. And I had been in LA for 10 years, and I was kind of hitting my head against a wall, like, with how to succeed in this business. And I actually packed up and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the film industry was booming. They shot Cowboys and Aliens, Thor, True Grit. A lot of big movies were being shot there. So I decided to move out there and be a big fish in a little pond, because LA, you're like a tadpole in a huge ocean. So I went out there and I met a ton of filmmakers that were like-minded, and I made really good friends. And we were, like I said, we were making short films and web series. And we were like, why don't we just try and make a feature? And we got a group of people together and said, you know, y'all want to go to the middle of nowhere and sleep in sleeping bags and make a feature film and try it. So that was, and there was honestly only 7 people who made this movie. For one whole week, there was only 3 people, me, the director, and the cinematographer. And we had to like rig the boom pole and slate and do everything ourselves. But you can do it. And I think for independent filmmaking, you have to do that until you can prove that you can get a real budget and get a bigger. It's funny because I'm working on an HBO mini-series right now here in Massachusetts called Olive Kittrich, and they have hundreds of crew members and millions of dollars, and I just think, truthfully, they don't actually need to do that, but it'd be nice to have more than 7 people. But it was a tiny, tiny group of people that did it, so.
What was your total budget for this particular film? Because you earned some of that money.
We did.
Doing odd jobs, and you put it back into the film. So what total did you spend on this film?
By the end of it, it was $10,000, and we sold the movie for double that, so that was good. And we originally, I know you guys probably heard of Kickstarter. Everybody, yeah? Kickstarter, Indiegogo. So we did a Kickstarter campaign and we raised $2,400, and we were like, all right, we'll just take the $2,400 and use that. And that's all we had when we were shooting the movie. Everybody came out for free. No one got paid, but it was also a group of people that all believed in the project. It wasn't like we were getting people that we didn't know. We were all friends. And like our cinematographer was first unit Avengers electrician, but a lot of those people want to have a higher status in the film world, but to get there, it's like you can't really move up the ladder. You just kind of have to decide that you're going to do it and prove that you can do it. A lot of people start out as a production assistant and then they want to move up, but they'll never be a director that way, because you'll actually just get to assistant director, and then it's very interesting. You can't, until you've done it and prove that you can make a film, no one's probably going to give you that opportunity, is what I've seen. I don't know if anyone's heard of a film called Bellflower. It was an independent film that a friend of mine did, and he got it, and they made it for same thing, like $10,000, a group of friends running around the streets, stealing locations. Not that, maybe that's stealing locations just means you don't get a permit and you just run around with a camera and you just hope that nobody shuts you down. And they ended up going to Sundance a couple of years ago, and it blew up, and Robert Rodriguez offered him a directing role for his next big movie. So, but if he had never made his film, no one would have ever known that he existed. And so yeah, our total budget was $10,000. Most of the money was all in post-production, since everybody came out for free. And the house, we already had a location. We started with a location. We had 80 acres of land and a beautiful house in Alamogordo, New Mexico. And then from that, we wrote the whole script around the location, which you kind of have to do if you don't have a budget to go out and get locations. And so.
Could you show us a scene from the location so we get an idea of what it looks like?
Sure.
Give me the highway in my 68 Ford. I promise I won't be back for a while. The box of greenback and a fresh pack of cigarettes. Nothing but the sound of the wind around. Oh, to be on that old big road.
You just happened to find that?
Yeah, I'll talk about how we shot all this stuff. It's just sometimes it's amazing when you have happy accidents. So we kind of looked at, it's kind of like a Little Red Riding story in a way. My character's dressed in red, and she comes to the house, and the villain's dressed in a wolf, in a fur jacket, and she chases her around the house. And so it's kind of crazy that we found this. We were all living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is 2.5 hours north of Alamogordo, New Mexico. We had gone out to shoot the movie on this property, and then we needed to do driving sequences. So we actually had a couple crew members in 2 cars, and we saved time and money by actually driving from Albuquerque back to Alamogordo to do pickup shots for the movie, and use that time to shoot all the driving sequences. And we were in 2 different cars, and my husband and the cinematographer were in the car in front of me, and we were on walkie-talkies, and he's like, pull over the car. There was a dead coyote on the side of the road. We didn't touch it. It is real. And it's actually, there is a murder in the movie, and we had already shot that, and the way the girl falls and dies is exactly the same position as the coyote was, and we used that in a dream sequence that it's mirroring back and forth, and it's kind of like, it was this crazy, awesome foreshadowing that she's about to go into the wolf's den, and you know. it's a crazy, happy accident that they're laying in the same position. And see how it looks like it's the barn. I'll pause it. For that shot that we're shooting through the barn doors, we actually put up black flats on stilts and shot it with a change of depth of field, so they're actually really close to the camera, but we made it look like they were far away, like it was coming from that. Also, a lot of the sound design, like when you hear people, could you hear the cicadas? So we had a lot of wind in New Mexico and a lot of wind problems, so we actually had to recreate every sound that you hear. So after we had shot the movie, we had so many wind problems that we were like, uh-oh. So my husband and I, at the time, were living in LA. We went out to Palm Springs, and we went to the middle of nowhere, and we literally recreated like footsteps, walking, throwing crowbars. So all the sound you hear was actually rebuilt in the editing room. And same with the cicadas. That wasn't really there. We went out and got that and added that into the movie. So, but yeah, so that was the same positioning that it fell on. And then I'll show you a special effects scene.
Stop. I don't want to hurt you. He's in the truck. We both know that she is crazy. Right? Let's just go. Right here.
We had to do a bunch of different cuts where he had his hand on that thing, and I would swing, obviously, and stop at a certain position. And then we brought in a green screen, put the green screen down, put his fingers there, so that and then the special effects guy did come to set, and we cut it so that it looks like it follows through onto his fingers. But I think it was pretty good for the fact that we didn't have any money. I don't know if you guys liked it, but and then also for his fall out the window, and he really does go back. We built a rig and put a mattress down, so he really actually just falls out. But we built that from scratch in this big, huge platform, so that we wanted to show him going out, but not really falling. And then. Right, yeah, I wish I had the behind the scenes to show you guys, because there's some really cool stuff that we were able to do. But yeah, a neighbor, a friend was a carpenter. Like, the good thing is just get a lot of people and make really good friends with everybody, and then everyone will come out and help you. So we were shooting this movie. There was a cold snap in New Mexico, and it was one of the coldest winters, and one of the pipes froze and broke. And we didn't know where it was because it's 80 acres of land. You got to go through and find where it was. So there was no running water to the house. And John's parents were like, you guys can't finish shooting. And I was like, no, we have to finish shooting. We don't even need water. We'll just come out there and shoot it. And a neighbor down the street, a little ways, offered up their house and let us stay there. And he was a carpenter. And he was like, well, I'll help you build this big platform to put the mattress on. So literally, like, he did fall backwards, but we had everybody holding the platform, and he went right down onto it as we shot it.
Is it true that the location was really the first piece of this whole thing?
Yes.
It was really the start of the script of the movie?
Absolutely. I'm a huge believer in road trips. driving, you can create so much awesome stuff just talking driving. We came up with our app game on a road trip. We came up with Home Sweet Home on a road trip. My husband and I were driving out to shoot a ranch video in Arizona, and we knew that John's parents would let us use the house, and we were like, well, what could we do? Okay, we have one location. How do we, and we talked about making a ghost movie. We knew we wanted to do horror genre because it sells so easily. And we just came up with all these different ideas. And then one of the reasons that we came up with squatters was in the news, it was really big that people are squatting in houses, and people, that we had just read an article that people were leaving in the day and people were living in their attics and coming down and eating their food and moving their things around. And they would come home from work and be like, why is everything, different? And then also that people would leave in the morning, open up their garage door, and people would run in, live there in the day, and then leave. Kind of freaky. So then we were like, well, maybe we should make it about squatters and kind of take the horror genre and flip it on its head and have it be, instead of home invasion where someone's coming into your house, you're going to come into your own house and you're invading your own home. And another thing, that the whole movie takes place in the daytime. And one of the reasons we had to do that was because the location was so remote that when you go outside, you can't even see your hand in front of you, and it would cost thousands of dollars to rent condors where you put huge lights up in the sky. So we were like, well, let's just make it all in the daytime. And it works really well because I think that you think you're safe in the day, and we're like, actually, you're not. And as you saw that death sequence happen in the middle of the afternoon, and you think you're outside on a hill and you don't expect someone's going to kill you. But not that I'm advocating for this, but really it all started with the house, and we just went, and my husband and I drove down there and scouted the location, and we looked at everything, every piece of the property. They had a trailer, they had a barn, they had all these things, and then we went back to, my brother wrote the script, and we told him, okay, we have this, we have that, write it all around that. Another thing that our cinematographer did that was really brilliant is sometimes when you do a one location movie, it can feel very claustrophobic to the audience. Like they feel like, I want to get out of here. So every time we come into a room, he came from a different angle or a different point of view, so that you never really feel like you're always, because we had to come into the same room over and over and trying to do that different so the audience doesn't feel like, I want out of this movie, it's so bad. I just watched a movie that all took place in a hotel room, and I wanted to kill myself in an elevator. I'm like, it was so like, I want to get out of here. So that was something that he did that was really smart, so you didn't feel like you were always coming into the same room the same way. We came all the time from a different point of view and a different angle. But yeah, we all started with the house, and we already had so much production value because the house was just beautiful. It was amazing. So that's my advice for independent filmmaking, is start with a location first and then work your way from there, because locations are really hard to get. And I mean, we were really lucky too, because usually if you're shooting, you're gonna have a lot of noise, you're gonna have street traffic, and you're gonna have to figure out how. Here it was so remote, there was nobody around. And the truth about the movie, in this location, in real life, 911 doesn't come to the house, because I've had to tell people in Q&A, like, well, why can't they get a hold of the police? Well, that house is outside of 911 range, so you would actually call the local sheriff's office. So you really hope that the sheriff's in town telling you, don't live in the middle of nowhere. So anyway, and then I don't know if there's anything else we should show, but that's pretty close to the end of the movie.
Before we transition to her app, do you guys have any specific questions about the movie itself, Sarah?
What kind of camera did you use?
Oh, we used the Canon Mark II.
So is that a DSLR?
The DSLR, yeah. I mean, when we had it, it had just come out. Now I think there's like 3 more that it's like, like I said to Sarah, you can't even keep up with technology. They're coming out with new cameras faster. And we did have some rolling shutter problems with the with that camera that was really too bad. We had sometimes with the depth of field, it would freak out, and we'd have all these crazy lines if it was on the wrong thing. So we had to go back into editing and have somebody go through and take out all the lines that it was making. So that was too bad. But again, I had a friend who could do it, so he helped me out. But yeah, it was a great camera. I mean, it looks beautiful, and the location's beautiful. And another big thing I would recommend for the selling, I should have said a little bit, we submitted to like 20 film festivals, and we didn't get into anything except for the Albuquerque Film Festival because we shot in that town, and we did win Audience Choice Award, but we were really, really discouraged because we thought, oh my gosh, nobody likes our movie. But we didn't give up, and I met these women who were poster designers, and they said, let us make you a poster. And that right now in the marketplace is probably your number one important thing. I always tell people, put your money into a poster, because nowadays you're going to Redbox or you're going to Netflix, and if you don't know who's in the movie, if it's not Brad Pitt, the audience just wants to see if it's a really good cover. And I don't have the cover, but I can show you guys the poster. So we hired them, we got an incredible poster, and then they gave us advice to stop film festivals because we had a hard genre for film festivals. We're not a drama, we're not going to get into Sundance, but a very sellable. So we got a sales team, our sales reps, kind of like if you're an actor, you have an agent. We have sales reps, we signed with the sales reps. They went to American Film Market, which is one of the biggest film markets, that in Cannes. Takes place in Santa Monica once a year, and they went there with the poster, and and Image Entertainment actually loved the poster, the title, and the tagline. They were like, they had said, we have been trying to make a movie with the title Home Sweet Home, and we've spent thousands of dollars in marketing not figuring out how to come up with how it would work. And so right off of the fact that it was Home Sweet Home, Sometimes You're Not Welcome in the poster, they were like, bang, they nailed marketing. We want to see the movie. And then by the end of American Film Market, they had bought the movie because they loved the poster so much. So that's an interesting piece of advice that we didn't even know that, we didn't get any film festivals, but we sold the movie and got into Walmart and Target, and a lot of it had to do with the poster.
Sorry. Who or what influenced you to make a movie and be an actress?
What? Well, I started acting when I was wicked young. I mean, like, seriously, and in church, and I did all the plays at Georgetown High School, and I loved it so much. And I just had to go try it, and that's why I went so young, because I kept thinking, if I don't do this now, I'll be 50 or 60 or 80 and go, why didn't I try it? So that's why I loved it. I don't know if I was influenced by anyone or just like the pure love of getting on stage and doing it. And then one of the reasons I got into producing was because, as an actor, or a lot of things in this business, you're kind of always waiting for, same with why we made a movie with no budget. We didn't want to wait for somebody to give us money. You try to get financing, you try to get investors, it can take years and years, and then mostly they're just saying, well, what have you done, So why I got into producing was because I wanted to have more control over my own career and then choose roles that I wanted to do and put myself in it instead of waiting for someone to pick me. And producing is so fun because you get to be a part of a project from the beginning to the end. And as an actor, you just walk in and then you walk out, and this is just so rewarding to start it with the idea and then follow it through to the end and be a part of every single process, from costumes to set design to post-production, which post-production is crazy. We had no idea that when you finish shooting a movie, you're like 20% there, because post-production's quite the beast. But all the music that you hear in the movie was a friend of ours, and he gave us his CDs and said, go for it, you can have it. And we got a composer out of England who was like, I just want to compose a feature. I don't have that on my resume. I'll do it for free. Best thing, we'd like tell them notes at night, go to sleep, and wake up, and there they are. So working with Europe is great. But that's the poster. Image changed it. Our original poster is a girl in a red jacket holding an axe. Image did change it a little bit, but not much. And they, here's our original poster. We went to market with this poster, and see, it says up there, Sometimes You're Not Welcome, Home Sweet Home. And that for them was like, marketing was like boom. And that's why it's really important to have good marketing in place too, and thinking about that as you're going along.
Did you guys create that poster and then the company created the other one?
Yeah, we worked with our poster company. I love posters. I had no idea. I had so much fun. When we were doing the process, I would go through poster after poster and be like, this I love, this grabs me, that one doesn't. And from like that, we knew we wanted it to feel, because a lot of horror movies have people in the woods, We don't do that. We have her out in the middle of nowhere where, you know, and you're almost like, yeah, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere that's wide open spaces. And we wanted it to feel very open, and you're not sure she's actually the victim in that, but you're not sure if she's the villain or the victim. And that's what happens once they hurt her friend. She makes a change, and she decides, my character decides, I'm now going to defend my home and revenge my friend's death and fight for it. So, but yeah, that poster helped a lot, and we just, American Film Market, last year we sold it, and then this year was last week, and we have the UK and Germany are interested in buying it. So, and again, that's a big thing. They're all like, the poster's amazing. And for a distribution company, that's going to save them so much money, because posters cost a lot to make, and usually they'll bring in a team of people to figure out how to market a movie. So if you have already brought that to them and they don't have to sit there with a bunch of people in a room and say, how do we like create this, you're golden. You know, for them, you've just saved them thousands and thousands of dollars. So, and our movie, usually a film sells, an independent film like ours usually sells 3,000 to 5,000 DVDs in the first month, and our movie sold 22,000. It grossed $180,000 in the first month, and I think a lot of it has to do with the poster. I went to local video stores that had it, and they were like, you guys are sold out all the time. And it's all because people just thought, that's a cool visual, and I want to see this, and hopefully people like it, and then they keep telling people, and yeah, so. Any other questions? I saw their hands.
Did you use a storyboard to help in post-production?
You know, we didn't really storyboard. A little bit, but it was very guerrilla filmmaking. You know, I think my husband and the cinematographer went through things, but we didn't actually storyboard the film.
So you were making a lot of decisions in terms of camera angles and all of that on set.
We did. I mean, we honestly, pre-production was kind of rushed. Avengers was coming to New Mexico. We had a very small window with our crew. So we wrote it, and we were like, let's just go do it. And if we fail, whatever, we'll go do it again. You know what I mean? That was the philosophy. If we fall down, we'll get back up and do it again. And I really pushed for us to shoot, and it happened. We lost all of our crew to the Avengers when it came to town, so it was good. And literally, a lot of the stuff happened on the fly, on the moment. And in a way, it was really good because we weren't married to it so much that we had so many awesome things happen because we were so willing to be like, let's just try it like this, let's do it like that. And it was way better than if you have a script that you're not allowed to stretch from. You had a question? What?
Like the relationship to the dogs?
Well, none. They're just living in her house. But when she gets to the gas station in the beginning, she hits her door of the villain, and then that kind of ticks her off, and I think that begins it. Or you mean in real life?
No, like the two villains. Like
Oh, they're a couple. They're a couple that have been squatting in houses and robbing convenience stores. And my brother has a very deep philosophy behind it. I don't know, but like she lost her part in 2008. There was a economic crash in America, and we were having all these issues. So we kind of took it off that of like people losing their homes and losing their jobs. And here we have two opposite spectrums: the girl who's trying to go home to redo her life, and then these two people who are also trying to recreate a life, But that's a little bit deep for a thriller. But yeah, and everyone's our friends, like the actors. I have been in LA for a long time. Lorena Segura York, who plays Naomi. Is that the end of class? Okay. She's like works on TV all the time, and I just called up favors, and a lot of stuff in post we didn't really know. We didn't know that you couldn't use license plates. That's a huge, huge, huge no-no. We didn't know that. So when we were going to sell it to Image Entertainment, they were like, are these real license plates? Like, we could get sued because license plates could change to other people, and then you can track people. So I had a friend who went through the movie and took out one number from each license plate. So just so you know, get fake license plates. There's a lot of things that we just kind of found out in the moment and figured it out. And I think that's why a lot of people give up, because it is such a huge process, and so many doors come up, and you think, oh my gosh, how am I going to get it through? And you just have to keep figuring it out and not give up. Because it took 2.5 years from conception to selling the movie. It was a long process. Does anyone else have a question? Yes.
What ends up happening at the end?
You have to see it. You have to see it. She gets out, but we kind of leave it open ending. I can show the end. Should I show the end sequence? Don't show it. Don't show it. Okay, good. Go watch it. It's really fun. It's a fun movie. What?
I'm gonna buy it on DVD.
Yeah, you can buy it on
DVD.
DVD.
Watch it right now.
Yeah, you can. Well, you can get it on iTunes and Amazon streaming or Verizon.
We're watching it on iTunes
Right now, this is iTunes. And we did have, unfortunately, a similar title called Home Sweet Home came out at the exact same time as us, so people got confused. But you see the poster. Don't get the other one. It's not our movie. It was too bad, but that happens, I guess, a lot in Hollywood. Similar movies with similar titles came out at the same time, but we crushed them in sales.
Wait, so on like Netflix and iTunes, is it that poster or is it the new one?
It's a new one. The other one he showed with and we're on Netflix DVDs. We're not on Netflix streaming because that movie came out 1 month before our film, and it went to Redbox, so we didn't go to Redbox, and it got to Netflix, and we didn't. So that was too bad that all because they released before us, because we were supposed to be in Redbox, and then we didn't get in. That's the poster, and that's what you'll see if you. And definitely rent it. It's a fun movie.